When I was a teen and I started my sex life, I remember a joke that was very prevalent around those who already started to have sex. It was very silly, and I'm not sure if this was something only around the Latino culture, but we were always laughing and making jokes when a guy was eating pineapple. This came from the belief that if a man would eat pineapple a couple of days or even hours before having sex, then his semen, his cum would taste like sugar. And apparently from the testimonial of some girls, that was actually true. That was back then, and I'm not sure if people are still doing the same today, but it made me realize something important, and it's that saying of you are what you eat, it is actually truth. And specifically when it comes to sex performance, it's also something that plays a role. And that's why I want to share with you today 3 foods that can skyrocket your sex performance. My name is Jesus Noya, and I help men to last longer in bed, become sexually dominant, and be more attractive, all this while avoiding the daily mistakes that I made through my sex life. This comes from a medical background of being a medicine student and 5 years of struggling with things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, and non-existent sexual confidence. Today I want to help you to increase your testosterone and your hormonal health. And if you're wondering why do you even want those things, it's because those things equals feeling healthier, manly, hotter erections, increasing libido and sex drive, or in simple words, just fucking hotter, better, and more. And just very quick, if you're suffering things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, and you want to accelerate the process for you to become a sex god and be the man of her life, go and click the link in the description right now. That way we can work together on making that a reality for you as soon as possible. But now let's jump into the video. Before speaking about the specific foods, there's something that I want to mention, and it's that changing my lifestyle and specifically things around my health and my diet and my fitness is something that totally changed my overall life, but specifically made significant improvements on my sex life. I was very interested in the world of nutrition since I was like 14 years old, maybe even before, because for me it was impressive how what we were eating was actually affecting the rest of our lives. And after a lot of research and constant trials and error, I ended up giving with the carnivore diet, and that is eating all the animal-based products, mainly just meat. And in my case, just beef. I know that for some people it may sound kind of weird, but that is actually what it is. I just only eat meat every day. I don't eat bread, I don't eat sugars, I don't eat fast food, I don't eat fruits or vegetables, I don't eat anything that comes from plants. I only eat meat. And believe me when I tell you that this is the healthiest that I've ever felt in my life. And not only that, but it's also the best sex performance that I ever had in my life. The carnivore diet is a little bit more extended topic, and I'm going to talk about it in the next video. But right now, in a nutshell, what you have to understand is that meat, and specifically beef, has all the nutrients that your body needs in the right amount. That means that you're gonna get from meat, specifically beef, the highest top tier nutrition. But not only that, as you're only eating meat, you're also avoiding the bullshit that is in normal people food. Normal, because it's not only about eating the right things, but also avoiding the harmful ones. A lot of vegetables, fruits, and grains, basically a bunch of plants, has a lot of toxins that are trying to chemically castrate you right now, as happens with soy, for example, or flaxseed. So if you want a sex god performance, to have sex like an animal, this diet is a non-negotiable. Having that in mind, the foods that I'm not going to talk about have the properties of boosting specifically your sexual functions. The carnivore diet is already going to give you like the highest nutrition that you can have and achieving with that perfect hormonal health and sexual functions. However, some specific foods can make that easier and faster, and I'm going to mention those. The first one is the king of the carnivore diet, and that is because you could basically only eat this for the rest of your life and you're gonna be thriving, and that is the ribeye steak. The ribeye steak is one of the most nutritious, if not the most nutritious food on earth, because it has everything that you need. Actually, a lot of people that go in the lion diet, that is basically only beef, salt, and water, are mainly eating ribeye steaks. The ribeye steak is high in healthy fats, vitamin B, selenium, iron, and a piece of ribeye that is like this size already has like 200% of your daily minimum requirement for zinc. Zinc is super important because it helps on the production of testosterone. And actually, when you have low zinc, people experience things like erectile dysfunction and low sperm count, even infertility at some point. Just to put it in simple ways, the ribeye steak is like very overpowered because it also has the perfect ratio between protein and fat. That's one of the reasons of why you could live only eating that. With your ribeye steak, you're giving your body all that it needs to be super healthy. Not only average, not only normal, not only okay, but to be ultra healthy, avoiding all the BS. And with this, your sexual functions would be at 100%. Just imagine a hunter, a caveman, coming from hunting with this big piece of steak and eating. Which vibe do you get from someone like that? I'm pretty sure he's not going to be a wimp in bed. And just look at how the carnivore guys look like Sean Baker or Dr. Shafee. And they're already out in their 40s and 50s and they look super healthy. They look like animals. Not even just them, just look at me, man. I feel amazing and I look sexy. It's not that I want to flex or something, but I feel the difference, and believe me, women as well. The second food is great as well, especially for those that can afford to be eating ribeye steaks every day, like me for example. And those are the eggs. A lot of people have been saying that eggs are bad and you shouldn't be eating them at all, but let's check some facts on that, especially around sex. Vince Gironda is a legend of bodybuilding, one of the biggest from all times. He was actually one of the mentors from Arnold when he was on his peak. A lot of people try to say that Vince was a fake natty, but if you look at his physique, he looked actually like a pretty natural guy. And one of the curious things is that he was advocating mainly for carnivore. His recommended diet was basically only steak and eggs, and that was it. And a very curious thing that he used to say was that eating 36 fertile eggs had the same effects as steroids. And even if there isn't that much strong research about this, the reality that we see with people on carnivore related to testosterone had actually similar effects. It is not absurd seeing someone jumping on carnivore and then doubling their testosterone. If you don't believe me, you can go look it up. And there's even a study in 1997 where they were using eggs, literally just eggs, to treat low sexual desire in men. And the study conclusion was this, and I quote, suggests significant effects on the frequency of sexual intercourse, on increased self-esteem, on the level of happiness, and on stamina. So this is all that you get just from eating eggs more frequently. And this happens because, as you probably heard already, the egg is a perfect protein. And I can tell you that it have great levels of things like zinc, vitamin D, an amino acid called tryptophan, omega-3 fatty acids. Being vitamin D and zinc super important for the process of generating testosterone. But for me, more than mentioning specific nutrients, I think that the egg is so great because of how complete it is as a food, especially in the micronutrient level. If you get like the organic one, as Vince Gironda used to say, those are the fertile ones, the ones that you get from healthier and happier chickens that have been in a cage their whole lives, that have actually the chance to go and eat as much as they want in a field. Those eggs are super healthy, and it's even better than consuming, for example, supplements or that kind of artificial food. But if I had to mention something specific, is that they have excellent levels of cholesterol. And there are a lot of soft boy nerds out there saying that cholesterol is bad, that it's going to cause you like cloggings in the arteries or like heart attacks and that bullshit. That's absolutely garbage. First of all, a bunch of those studies are actually just plain bullshit. They were all fake, like the ones coming from Ansel Keys, that was the biggest advocate for this theory. But in simple terms, your body needs cholesterol. It actually needs a lot. And not only for testosterone, but for most of the hormones. Actually, I think that basically every hormone. Cholesterol is the constructing block for those. And if you don't have those constructing blocks, you're fucked. Your dick is not going to work. And then there's some people saying that you should only eat like the white part and not the yellow one, that there's good and bad cholesterol. That's bullshit as well. You need both cholesterol. The HDL, that is the people that call the good one, and the LDL, the people call the bad one. You need both. There's no bad cholesterol. And eggs are a great way to get that. A sweet spot for eating eggs should be at least 10 eggs daily. There's no excuse to don't do that. And the effects that you're going to see on your sex performance are going to happen very quick. Since I started eating 10 eggs daily, for example, something weird that has been happening is that I just have way more sexual dreams. Eggs are also very convenient because they are in a heavy meal. I mean, you can have a bunch of them, like 10, 12, or 15, and you're gonna feel light 5 minutes after eating them. And after eating 10 eggs daily for a while, and probably just in the first week, you're gonna realize that you're more filled with this like aggressive and outgoing energy. You just feel more alive, and that's because your body is receiving what it needs. With all this said, start to eat 10 eggs daily, and your girlfriend is going to start to ask if you took Viagra. And the last food is not only one type of food, but a bunch of them, and that is seafood. More specifically, things like clams, mussels, and oysters. What I'm going to tell you about this comes from ancient knowledge. So I'm Venezuela, right? Specifically from a city called Cumaná, and the whole city is like a big beach. We're connected to the sea. In November, we always celebrate something called La Noche de Antaño, that is basically the ancient nights. It is a big celebration in honor to be in the oldest city of South America. So you see people wearing like vintage clothes and playing music with saxophones all over the street. It's just a very beautiful celebration. And they also sell a lot of traditional food. And I remember when I was younger how I was laughing all the time seeing the names of some of these foods. And the names were Vuelve a la Vida, Levanta Muertos, Siete potencias, rompe colchón. If you want to translate those to English, would we bring back to life, raise the dead, seven powers, and bed breaker. And the names weren't just a coincidence or because they were funny. These were widely known aphrodisiacs in there, and they were made from all the seafood, specifically from clams, mussels, and oysters, and adding other things like octopus and shrimp. These traditional foods have the fame of being used as a treatment for erectile dysfunction, and not only that, but as a booster for sexual performance. People didn't know the reasons, they just know that it works, and that's why today they are still doing that. But when you look at the nutritional content, it makes a lot of sense. Clams, mussels, and oysters are super high in zinc and had also a very good content of omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin D. When I say that they are super high in zinc, I mean like super high. Just 100 grams in oyster have around like 700% of the minimum daily intake of zinc, 7 times of the average. One of the most interesting stories that I read about this came from a girl from a magazine, and she started to experiment with eating daily a bunch of oysters. And there wasn't a specific moment where she sat down in a park to eat like a bunch of oysters, like 36 in one seat, and she was feeling like kind of like sluggish, so she went to sleep. She felt like a whole hit of sex right one time just after that nap, that she wanted to have sex as soon as possible. And thanks God that these things are delicious. These are the times where I feel grateful for my roots. Now with these foods and this style of eating, you may be wondering, okay, but what about things around fat, cholesterol? This guy saying that that's bad, that you're going to get something in the thyroid, you're going to get cancer. Some people say that it's good in the short term but not for the long term, that it's not good for longevity, that you gotta eat balance, that you're supposed to have some vegetables. I'm going to be very direct with my opinion about those things, and that is all that is just BS. And whoever is trying to sell you that and put it as the truth is either full of BS as well, or it's just ignorant. I'm gonna link in the description as well the channel for Dr. Sheffield. There you have all the information that you need for this diet. But listen, just use the common sense, right? I'm not telling you to eat like this because I want you to die early or have strokes. I'm telling this with such conviction because what I really want for you and what I'm fighting for is for you to be a healthy, masculine, and dominant man, full of energy, alive. A man that is able to thrive, to work hard. A man that is able to fuck his woman in a powerful, loving, and dominant way. I'm hyping this up because it made a significant, a humongous change in my life. And I keep saying that improvement and that change over and over again with the people that work with me or just outside. They're able to unlock a more fulfilling and passionate sex life. And that's what I really wish for you. Again, remember that if you're struggling with things like premature ejaculation, performance anxiety, or if you want to accelerate the process for you to become a sex god, go and click link in the description right now. That way we can work together on making that a reality for you as soon as possible. But besides that, man, I really hope this helps you, and I'll see you later.